Brick by brick, the vision started to take shape, and each step was a leap of faith. Well, on today's episode, we get to witness the construction of the Tower of Faith from the foundation to the rooftop. In today's episode, we will be seeing the different strategies employed to see that this work was going on. Stay tuned.
Now, the initial money we needed for the foundation of our building, a 5-story building, was close to 500 million shillings. I had never dreamt of it. I have never heard of it. By this time, we had about 42 million shillings on the account. But again, the hospital spoke with me. The time to start is now. Now, very, very, very important thing to know in life that, God's timing is always the best timing. Sometimes God's timing will be against the norm, will be against the norm of the people. But because that is, God has already put stuff in his timing. So being able to know the timing of God and moving in God's timing, I think is very fundamental in life. I think this is one of the things, if people ask me, what is kind of like your secret? Many people come to me, how are you able to achieve it? One of the things is I've learned to hear God and to obey on time. Many people miss God because of delayed obedience or disobedience, because you have to analyze and figure out the prevailing circumstances and situations in order to come with, they call it analysis of paralysis. You have to analyze everything before you calculate it here and there. When things come up, then you can be able to move. Faith does not work on that dimension. Faith works when you move with knowledge and move in the direction where God has called you to move. So they need about 500 million Uganda shillings. We have only 42. I go to the Lord, I say, Lord, you have told us to start, but this is what we have and this is what they need. The Holy Spirit spoke to me and said, change the contract deal. Now, the original contract deal was, the contract was for both labor and material. For us to be able to raise that close to 500 million shillings. The Holy Spirit told me, change the contract from labor and material. Let the contract be labor, and trust me, for materials I'll provide. So we changed the contract, said, now let's change the contract. Let's go labor. We'll be able to provide the materials, provided you tell us the materials. So which we did. So the engineer told us, we asked him how much he needed. Actually, for his entire labor to do the foundation, he needed 42 million shillings exactly, which we had. We paid him up front, and we brought our 1,000 bags of cement. We started trusting God for steel, for aggregates, for sand, for all these other things. And I'm telling you, not even once when we wanted materials that God never provided. God provided supernaturally. God provided in a way, in an unprecedented way, in the way we have never imagined, in the way we had never thought. And actually, there you go, the foundation was done. So, but before the foundation was done, I had to invite my spiritual father, Bishop Charles Iwalas. Remember, of course, there's something I've not told you. When God spoke to me about ministry, to go a little bit back, I called my father in the Lord, Bishop Wallace, told him everything I wanted to do. Actually, he told me, come to the U.S. Now, I went to the U.S., I think the second time, I don't know whether the first time, and I sat hand at feet, because by this time he had been in ministry for over probably 25 years, 30 years. I needed to listen to him. So he started guiding me and talking to me and instructing me on how to start ministry, what not to do. One of the things I remember why actually one of our success as a ministry, he told me, son, many things he spoke to me that actually are very fundamental. He told me, son, when you learn to value what God values, then God will put value on you. And he said, when you learn to value God's work, God will value whatever you're doing. And I've lived with that principle, and indeed I've proven it works. Secondly, he told me, when you learn to be faithful to the unrighteous mammon, because first time he told me that you see money good, but money makes good people bad. So be careful on how you handle money. So he told me, if you will be faithful to the unrighteous mammon, then God will trust you with all treasures. I remember actually during that time, my father told me when he came, he said, son, God has privileged you with every gift you need in the ministry to do ministry. And I have proven that. Actually, I have all the gift. I mean, right now, this work that is being carried on, this video that you're shooting, I'm not paying any one of you a single penny. With all these equipment, some of them I've never seen them. I'm seeing them for the first time. Some of these equipments, I've seen them on CNN, but lo and behold, they're the ones that, are capturing me. But all these are gifts my father spoke to me, said, every gift you need, you will have it in us. And today, lo and behold, it is a reality. So he spoke to me and guided me very well and showed me how to run ministry. And I want to bless the name of the Lord for that voice of my father in the Lord, Bishop Charles Iwalas. And I'll be forever grateful for my father in the Lord. He guided me, has always guided me. He has showed me the path. The exactly template he showed me on how to do a successful ministry is what exactly I did, and lo and behold, where we are. So I told him, Daddy, we are going to do groundbreak. You must come. So he comes. It was exciting. It was a wonderful moment. I remember we are putting on gowns and, these capes of constructors, and we are putting on gloves. It was beautiful. It was such an exciting moment, believing God for this wonderful project. I think by that time, the project was a couple of millions of US dollars by faith. And we said, we are going to move it. Of course, he prayed for us. We did the groundbreaking, and lo and behold, he left, and the project now started unfolding. So the project started unfolding. We didn't build straight. We could build probably after a year. There's one time we stopped because of we get a challenge with contractors. We have had actually challenges with contractors like 3 times. And this has had a very diverse effect on our progress as far as completing the Tower of Faith in time is. But also we've been very keen on not compromising the standards, because we wanted to make sure that everything is done the way it is done. Of course, I have learned a lot of things. I've learned so many things. Today, actually, if you give me a building to supervise, I'll be able to supervise it very, very. I've learned through experience the expertise of supervising a massive project. I can talk to you in terms of the kind of stones that can be used. I can talk to you today I can talk about Y25, Y20, Y16 very well. I can talk about clearly what ribs are. I can talk very well about what wire mesh or what cement. I know types of cement. We have SIM 1, SIM 2, SIM 3. I know where all this works. This is the experience I've been able to get. Somebody was telling me the first time I talked about MaxSpan, they didn't know what MaxSpans are. Today I can talk about MaxSpan. I can talk about BRC. All this language I've been exposed to, the ratios. I can talk about tubes, because all the columns would get tubes to take to the lab, to be able to measure the content of water, the content, the moisture, and all. So I've been able to gain a lot of strength. So it has come through, the Tower of Faith has come through a series of things, a series of programs. We have come up. I want to thank God that we have not invited a single politician. God cautioned me about that. People have a tendency, especially believers, they want to call upon MPs. Most of these MPs, they subscribe to witchcraft, and they are sorcerers. And sometimes these are the people we have invited to come and do fundraising with us. After, subscribing to other God, they come and bring this. I have avoided that by the grace of God. We have not invited second lady, third lady, 12th lady, not even MPs, not even politicians, just to come. Because God cautioned me and told me this building, it should be about my glory and should be purely me. And the Lord told me, believe in the people you pastor, believe in them, encourage them, support them, pray for them. And as God blesses them, make sure that you use that money that has come the way it's supposed to be used. And that's how we've been able, by the grace of God, without any support of the government, without any support anywhere, but believing and trusting God. Our church is not quite a big church in terms of numbers. If we put together currently, our number probably come up to 400 members, including Sunday school children. And these are the people that have been able to build a multi-million-dollar facility, a 5-story building. I think the first of its kind in the country. And I think the first church structure to have an elevator and a few other facilities on this structure. So the work started not like that by faith. So at every stage, we would pause, wait upon the Lord. Then the Spirit of the Lord will guide us, would continue, would pause. And I've actually witnessed this trend that actually it is, after we have stopped for a while, I've always observed this trend that it is now when the economy of the country is not doing very well. That's when the Lord now will tell us, move, make a move. We are, the economy is in shambles, and we have moved and we have never laid back. We have never stopped. So from the first floor to the ground floor, every floor has an experience. Every floor has a stage. So what are these 5 stories for? Somebody would want to know. Why 5 stories? Now, in the first place, 5 stories. Why? Because we wanted, number one, we wanted to maximize the land for parking. Number 2, in my understanding, it's not wise to build, let me say, a multi-million-dollar building which you only open up on Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday. To me, that would not make an economic sense. And number 3, I wanted to put up a building with projects that actually could be beneficial to the community and to the society. And that's what we call social responsibility. Our visibility, our presence in the community must be a reality as a church. It's not just about preaching and teaching, but what else can we be able to do that, can demonstrate our social responsibility to the community? Because in most cases, we only tackle the spiritual aspect of it. But remember, our vision is to grow God's people into spiritual maturity, to manifest kingdom life holistically. In other words, our approach to a human transformation is 4-fold or 5-fold. Our approach in transformation will transform the spirit, will transform the soul, will transform the mind, will transform the intellect, the body, as well as the entire well-being of a human being. So part of the 5 stories is a representation of our vision, a representation of fulfilling our vision, growing God's people into spiritual maturity to manifest kingdom life holistically. So the first floor and the second floor, they work as the church auditorium. And the third floor, of course, will host the youth church. We want our youth to be very dynamic, very fiery, very powerful. And of course, it will also have a preschool. We will have a preschool, which eventually actually is an international model school, which raises children on kingdom principles and kingdom values, which eventually grow into a primary school and later on a college and later on a university. That is our ultimate vision in the future. That is what is, and then a few of some offices on the 3rd floor. Then on the 4th floor of the Tower of Faith, we are going to have a dental center. And the idea of a dental center is, I'm privileged by the fact of where my wife works. I'm on a medical scheme. And, I'm privileged to go for dental every year. But one time I was on my dental bed and began to see this privilege. I said, Lord, how can our people benefit? So a thought hit me that how about if we did a dental clinic where our people can come and benefit? And the idea is actually in the dental clinic in the future, if everything works out very well, we want, at least people that have been with us for the last 5 years and been consistent in their tithes and their giving, want to do it as a way of giving back to our people, to give them a free dental service. Now, one would wonder, how will you be able to sustain and to maintain it? Very simple. All what you need to do is to have good policy, good structures, such that the people that come from the community, they pay for their service. The service could be able to cater for the service that people are able to get free of charge. As a way, we want to make Kingdom Life Tabernacle a very unique church where people can be able to get free dental service. That's the plan. By the grace of God, we have already acquired the equipment is available. So the 4th floor, we have a dental center. We have offices, actually some offices already operating and they're paying rent. Basically, the 4th floor is supposed to be a money generating floor to generate money to help run the ministry and be able to do other things. On the 4th floor also, we shall have a studios for the radio and the television. Then on the same floor, we shall have microfinance, a bank. Actually, very soon we are going to be launching it. This bank came away in a way about 5-7 years ago. The Lord inspired me to begin a saving culture in our church. And we have turned that saving culture into an investment club, which is KLT Investment Club. It is legally registered with the government of Uganda, and we registered with BFC Bank. And we have a couple of hundreds of millions up there. We believe by the time we open up, that this bank will be able to have our own money, where our people can be able to come and borrow, begin businesses at a very simple, small interest rate that can enable our people to empower them economically. That's us being part of a vision. Then still on the same floor, we'll have our International Leadership Institute, where we can be able to have classes, but also our community registrar's office. Then the 5th floor again has 14 self-contained rooms, actually and to suits. These are basically also money generating facility where if other churches are hosting guests, they could always refer them to us, and then we give these guests a kingdom environment, a godly environment where they can come and pay us some fee, and this money still will return, go back into the coffers of the ministry to help advance the kingdom of God. So on the 5th floor, we have also the boardroom, we have a dining hall, we have a kitchen at the same time, we have a few offices on the 5th floor, and then over time, we have developed actually a dome which would act as the 6th floor on the Tower of Faith. And this dome is basically a center. It's going to be a prayer altar. My faith, my belief in God is when this dome opens up doors to prayer, we want an altar that can be 24 hours, 7 days a week for prayer to be running until the church will be raptured on the face of the earth. That's my desire. That's my goal. That's what I look for, that prayer will be going on 24 hours, 7 days a week, all through the year, all through life, until the church is raptured. So basically, this is what makes up the entire tower. Of course, we'll have a restaurant still on the Tower of Faith. A restaurant is there. We'll have a library, a good running library, and to have good and nice bathrooms and toilets on the Tower of Faith, and a few other offices. Now, in the auditorium, we have two rooms that we cater for breastfeeding mothers that they don't have to attend the main service. Those facilities are being provided for, where you have to feed your child, breastfeeding them without being inconvenienced with the public. Of course, they'll be watching through the screen. So basically, that is it about the Tower of Faith and what God is doing in our midst. And we believe that God has been so good to us. We have seen people grow from nowhere, from nothing to something. We have seen, I remember when we had just started, actually, I think we had about 2 cars in parking, or 3 cars in parking, or 4 cars in parking. It's amazing how, if you came in our Sunday service, how many cars you can be able to witness. By the time we started, a few people had built. You can imagine by this time, because of people connecting with the grace at the Tower of Faith, we have many people who are landlords. We have many people who, have apartments. People have good jobs. We have some of our children we started with. I remember Andrew, by that time, was, I think, in a primary school. Just this year, he graduated from the university. So you realize, people have been growing with the church. Many people that we are still babies, our children, today they are graduates. Many are working. Many are very responsible people. And God is doing amazing things. And out of these 13 years of our existence today, I can graciously tell you, God has been so good to us. We run, I think right now, we have, over 10 branches around the country of Kingdom Life Tabernacle, where we've been able to raise sons. And we also have other branches outside the country. Actually, come the beginning of the month of July, we are going to be officially dedicating Kingdom Life Tabernacle Dubai, with led by Pastor Jacob Chiyuba, and also our resident pastor in Dubai, Pastor Andrew Awubwa, as well as Daphne Awubwa. We are going to be dedicating it come the first Sunday. That will be, I think, on the 7th of July.
Wow, what an amazing episode it was today. Surely God has been good. And as you can see behind me, what started off as brick by brick is now a whole facility. Surely God has been good.